Okay, so, going pretty quickly here, going to hop right into the Ban and Protect of this Evac uplink here. The
Standard.
Afterburner Protect. That's interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, they banned it one of those last maps. I forget which one it was. But, they want to be able to fly around the map.
I guess so.
They like having that extra mobility.
They really,
and it helps a lot in uplink because you're going to be trying to get the angle so you can get the...
Yeah, you know what? That's actually something we saw come hugely,
yeah.
Have a major impact in our last series
where they couldn't tie it up.
Yeah, where, a player missed a buzzer beater to, force overtime
choke.
because he ran out of boost and didn't have Afterburner, went for some wall runs
sad sight.
and wasn't able to boost up to get enough height to get the throw.
They did so much work to get that too.
Hey, that just shows you right there the power of how important Afterburner can be. So active camo and heat wave coming out for our first round of the specialist draft. Expecting an Annihilator. I was gonna say a Scythe, but an Annihilator can be deadly, especially in someone. I think the Annihilator, you'll generally give it to your best Slayer or your just best player in general, because the Annihilator just takes so long and so many points to gather, and then even then, it's you
better
have to
go
be
off
accurate
with it.
Yeah, you have to be accurate with it.
You better perform.
You don't have that many opportunities, so you really have to make them count. So you really
the other team is going to take a Scythe.
Want to give that to who you think might be
and his Tempest. I like that.
Yeah, so it looks like going to be another 2-2 in terms of weapons and abilities for both of these teams.
Yep.
Again,
even.
Not something we've seen from other teams in this league.
These teams are evolved.
Yeah,
seems like a top, not top tier, but better than what we've been seeing late.
Yeah, so late. Do you think there's a difference, really? How much of a difference do you think there is team comp-wise when it comes to running 2 weapons versus only running 1?
There's a huge difference because there's just so much more you can do with killing. You can hold.
I like that. I like that phrase. There is so much more you can do with killing, and that is so true. And that is exactly why I think these teams are running those 2 weapon compositions, is so that they have the ability to kill in many different ways.
Yep.
We see the Annihilator and the Scythe, and also the Scythe and the Tempest. Now, for Uplink, what do you think is better, the Annihilator or the Tempest?
Well, pretty much boils down to preference and how patient you are. If you want that kind of quick killing ability, go with the Tempest, man. You'll have some fun.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, as we've said, the Annihilator has the longest charge time, and, the Tempest isn't, short, so to speak, but it is definitely shorter when you compare it to the Annihilator. So, the Tempest will get more uses, I think, almost definitely through the game, but the Annihilator might come in more clutch because, you can pick up those kills. And obviously in Uplink, a lot of the time players might not be as stacked up. So you might see a lot less of those chain lightning kills from the Tempest.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the main reasons we see it picked up hard point.
Say, for instance, you're pushed up in the spawn and you know where they're going to spawn next. You can just pre-aim it and maybe hopefully get a chain kill if they're spawning in 3s.
Yeah, but here we go. We are going into map 3. It is currently 1-1 between these 2 teams. We're going to see who's going to come out on top here? Who's going to take that 2-1 series lead? We saw SND win one way, Hardpoint win the complete other way. Mount Royal, is Mount Royal going to be able to take this? We saw them with that impressive 6-0 in the Search and Destroy. Well, we're going to find out right now as we head into Evac Uplink. Right off the bat, I kind of have to apologize here. These players ended up starting the match before I could switch the sides on the Codcaster. Obviously, I was talking to one of the players from North Kentucky, and they were saying that they have early classes. So obviously they want to get this show. Yeah, I was about to say that exact thing. So, follow the clan tags. The clan tags are your key for this game. I apologize. I'll make sure it is all set for map number 4. But here we go, going into it. Astros and Corrupt, big start there. Wow, 3 down right off the bat for Northern Kentucky, and it looks like they're gonna get this score. I don't think anybody. Yeah, there's no. Oh, shots will come in, but that armor will be enough to secure it. Mount Royal though is able.
Doing the low wall run.
Yeah. There's that. Is he? Oh, he is running Afterburner. He lost that even with Afterburner.
Good try, dude.
That 2 down there for Mount Royal means for Mount Royal. Oh god, it's gonna be confusing. It means North Kentucky is going to be in a solid position now to maybe take a larger lead here. Oh, gets stuck. Oh, it's stuck on that glass. Finally gets up now. It's 2 downs for each side, and he's just looking to maybe go for a 1 point, trying to decide what's the best course of action. Oh no, he's going. No, wow, that was not maybe the smartest play. I think he could have easily gone.
For his teammate.
Yeah, I think he could have either waited for a teammate to push for that 2 point, but I think he also could have easily gotten that 1 point throw.
Yeah, if he just managed his boost better.
Yeah, didn't go for that long wall run, instead just kind of boosted over instead of, like I said, going for the wall run. But Stunna is gonna pick up the ball once again for Northern Kentucky. And it's going to be tough. He might get the 1. Is that going to go through? No, that goes wide and will land in the back of Mount Royal spawn. No, not right now. 2-0 still the lead for Northern Kentucky, and Mount Royal will play that ball, so we'll reset. And, the whole concept of playing the ball, resetting it back to the middle, is one of the bigger macro strategies in terms of uplink. And honestly, if, I'm being blunt, I think it's something we've seen teams struggle with.
Yeah.
These are amateurs, obviously. They aren't being paid a salary. They are picked up by these orgs, and I think that kind of shows through in this regard, in that we're seeing kind of a lack of map awareness when it comes to deciding when to reset the ball.
They gotta stay in those 8 lobbies.
Yeah, it seems like these teams will reset the ball even though they don't have control of the respawn point, and it kind of just creates a cycle where they're being pushed into their base, and eventually they're going to get scored on. Still, though, Northern Kentucky able to withstand everything that Mount Royal is throwing at them. They're able to hold on to this 2-0 lead here with 2.5 minutes here left in this first side. Stunna has the ball. He's going to come up to at least. Yeah, there's nothing he could do there. Probably should have waited for some teammates, but the same thing can now be said for Ninja as that trade comes down.
Okay, a little bit of stalling in midair right there.
Yes, which now means Northern Kentucky, had a chance there, but will not escape the bottom area. I believe the player from Mount Royal, yes, he was able to just throw that off the side of the map right before he died, which is going to open up an opportunity for Mount Royal now. They only have 1, maybe 2 players to beat. Solar able to pick up one of them. He's going to get the 2-point dunk. There we go now, 2-2.
All tied up.
Yes, now it's tied up, of course.
See what Mount Royal can do with that momentum.
We realized over the break here where maybe some of our connection problems are coming from. Mount Royal's in Canada.
Yep.
So there's a bit of, we were thinking.
Bit of a distance.
We were thinking there were some east-west coast problems there. North-south. Yeah. So, that might have something to do with it. But hey, we'll make sure everything's all good after this match. Though Ninja's gonna have the ball for his team, Mount Royal.
Top AC.
Yep, hoping to
going to the mid alley.
Make their lead bigger. 4-2 now in favor of Mount Royal with a minute left in this first side. We'll see what they're going to do here. Solar has the ball. They're pretty much at a solid relay. No! There is that Annihilator. Corrupt with a huge. Yes. He only got 2 kills out of it, but they were 2 huge kills. He was perfectly set up for that 1-point throw to make it a 3-point game, but that Annihilator stopped him dead in his tracks. It's a great play. That ball's still just sitting there. It will finally reset on its own accord, and Ninja will be in position now. Let's see if he can get the 1-point throw this time.
They do have specials for next round. Can they get the 2? This looks like a 2. And another dunk.
Another dunk for Mount Royal. They now have the 6-2 lead. Definitely bouncing back from that first hardpoint loss now. We'll see what they do. Solar, again, they have just completely set up this relay. I think that's going to be another 2-pointer. Yes, it will be now. 8-2 in favor of Mount Royal as we go into our second side. Northern Kentucky seems to be
dunking on kids.
Yeah, falling apart a little bit. It's going to be,
You're getting dunked on.
As I said, the Codcaster is swapped, so that's Mount Royal, who was up 8-2 over Northern Kentucky. Like I said, keep your eye on the clan tags. That's why they're there, in case, crazy quick start games happen just like this. So keep your eye there, and you will hopefully be just as, hopefully less confused than we are, trying to bounce back and forth here. But it is all good now. Hopping into this second side. Player reconnecting. Oh,
We do have a Tempest and a Scythe.
oh, okay. Obviously, some problems here. We're going to get these things figured out. We're going to see what the deal is, what the ruling is, what we're going to do here. But as that happens, we're going to jump to a quick break, figure these things out. We're going to be back as soon as possible and, get back to the action.
Yep.